Hi, I'm Ted from Everything Attachments, and we're today with our largest box blade that we've built to date. We're calling it our land clearing and grading blade because that's pretty much what it's going to be used for. This particular blade is an 8-foot blade, 96 inches, and it's going to Louisiana to build a pond out there with a 135 horsepower tractor. Somewhere about 95 horsepower is probably about the minimum size tractor that you're going to use with this size of blade. We are making it in a little bit narrower width. We're going to start with a 78, a 90, a 96, which is what this is, 8 feet, a 108, and a 120, which is 10 feet. So we're getting ready to do a video with this one with a 105 horsepower that Harry Gant has. It's a TL90, but I've turned up the horsepower. It's got 105 on the PTO, four-wheel drive with a loader. Should make a good video. It'll handle this weight with no problem. But this is almost 2,300 pounds in an 8-foot blade. People wanted a heavier blade, so we went all the way, and then we're going to work our way back towards the regular size blades with a moldboard and stuff that will float. On a clearing blade where you're just wanting to be able to push massive amounts of dirt, trees, and everything around, you really can't put a floating tailgate on it because it just isn't strong enough to take a 200 horsepower tractor. This comes in only a Category 2 and a Category 3 hitch. They will work with the quick hitches. If you get a Category 3 quick hitch, you're going to need to make sure that you get the wide version, the 38-inch wide version, because that's what this is set on. The moldboards are 30 inches high. As you can see, it comes up pretty far here. And the reason we made them 30 inches is because we can cut on either 5-foot wide sheets of steel or 6-foot. If we only have a 5 in stock at the time, then we can still get 2 without any waste, and it works out well for us. These are 3/8 in thickness. Each one of these moldboards on a 8-foot blade weighs 300 pounds. So it takes 3 men to put this into the press brake and get these bends done. Both moldboards are identical. Everything is indexed through it. The main brace here, which is about 9 inches by 4 inches, which makes an L, comes all the way through the moldboard, wraps around the front 6 by 6, 3/8 thick tube, and then makes it for your pin connection. Now that's the strongest way of doing it. The way we put it together, we put this through both moldboards, tack it, and then we slide the 6-inch tube through the hole in the side to get everything to line up so we can get everything ready to build. Now this is a 1/2-inch side. Some people say, why don't you put a 1 inch on a box blade this big? Well, it just doesn't need to be for strength because we have put a 1/2-inch moon-shaped gusset in here. You've got gusseting coming back here, 1/2-inch thick, which is actually for wearing. And you've got a 6-inch here of cantilever, which gives it some strength. You've got all these center braces. Now, as we go wider than 8 feet, you will see another brace come from the front to the back. But you've also got about 4 or 5 inches back here where the moldboards come apart for their shape, and that gives you some cantilever here. So we don't think it needs any more side thickness because it has plenty of strength, and anything past the weight that we're at now at almost 2,300 pounds is just going to be dead weight. So we're trying to build it as strong as we can, and I would say as light as we can, but that's not where we've ended up at 2,300 pounds. We've cut slots through the middle of the moldboard here. We've inserted a piece. They're welded on both sides. It connects the moldboard in the middle to make it really rigid where it's not trying to move around. We will eventually make some moldboards that are floating, but on a box blade that's meant for 200 horsepower, you just can't use a floating moldboard because it's too weak. You're going to bend it. And when you go to shearing off trees and so forth, it's just too much for them. Now, the cutting edges that are on this, we ordered special from Vault Cutting Edges. It's a U.S.-made company. It's what goes on all of our box blades. Regardless of which one you buy, we use a U.S. made blade, but these are called a Viper blade. They're 5/8 thick and they're 8 inches tall. What we normally use is either 3/8 or 1/2 inch thick, 6 inches tall. And what we use is a a case hardened, heat treated blade, which is what industry standard is. And according to Valk, there's no other company that's making a box blade that's using the Viper blades, which are normally used on road construction, mining equipment, and quarries and stuff, which are fully heat treated. They're hardened all the way through. They're guaranteed not to break. They're twice as expensive as a normal cutting edge and even more than an imported edge. So they're a great edge. They should be able to shear things off, take all the abuse, no problem. Turning around to the back of this, and I hope you can see everything okay because we didn't really want to move it. It's just so heavy. You can see these big 8-inch thick blades or 8-inch tall blades, 5/8 thick, grade 8 bolts through them. You can see where we put part of, now it's longer than this on the other side, but we put part of the main brace coming back through, welded on both sides. You can see the inserts here where they come through the moldboard and just make everything more rigid, you know, being 30 inches high. So you've got a ton of clearing area here. You've also got a big, large pocket here to start helping you build up the dirt that you're pushing backwards. And that this blade being 3/8 thick, it shouldn't be able, you know, no matter what you push on wood or something like that, trees, it should be able to take the load. And this is the exact same shape as what the front is, so you're able to do it in both directions with good grading. We're using a 1-inch thick shank. We looked to try to buy ripper shanks from different companies. No one offered what we wanted, so we're simply burning these out of a plate of 1 inch with a high yield strength. And then we're welding on. They're not just replaceable because you shouldn't have to do it much. The tips are welded on, but it's an AR material, which is abrasion resistant, 400, so it has a yield strength of over 400,000 pounds, and then it has abrasion resistance in it, which is a lot of carbon. So you've got a really strong ripper shank, and it's if I said 4 inches, I meant to say it's 5 inches from front to back, 1 inch thick. They're weighing about 33 pounds apiece with the tip on them. And it just keeps adding up into more and more weight. Since the back of this is 30 inches, it makes the front of the hitch actually look small on this. But it's set in the right position, so when you're able to hold yards of dirt and be dragging it from wherever you are, say for the guy in Louisiana that's building a pond, this particular 8-foot box blade will probably hold about, and I haven't done the exact cubic feet, but it's probably a little over 3 yards of dirt is what he's going to be able to carry out at a time. So he's going to have to be able to pick it up quite a bit to get it over the load. So we've set the hitch in the right position so even a large tractor will be able to pick it up really high. It is Category 2 and Category 3. Quick attach acceptable. This is the proper dimensions. If you're using a Category 3 quick attach, you need to make sure you get the large one that's 38 inches wide. Now, these ripper shanks are being held in by a Category 1 top link pin, and they have a standard lynch pin like goes on the end of your drawbar now to hold them in. If you're in a lot of brush and stuff, you know you've lost lynch pins before, you might would want to, once you find the magic spot of where you want to be ripping, you might would want to replace that with a 3/8 bolt with a lock nut or a lock washer and a nut. And if you'll notice, this end shank is tilted to the side for 2 reasons. One, we've got a brace in here to give all of this some stability, but also we wanted to get this tip as close to the edge here so we could do some just serious digging and loosen this ground up to let this go deep so you can get as much out as possible at a time. It's a lot of trouble. Every piece in this side piece is different than any of the others, and every piece is different, left and right. It's a lot of work to make, but we wanted to get this ripper shank over here to the side, and that's why it's leaning like that. And we wanted you to, we could have done it maybe, but you wouldn't have been able to get in there and change it easily with your hands, so we just went to the extra trouble to do that. It's got a 3/8 thick brace that goes all the way to the back. All of the piece, this front piece here, which gets to be about 8 inches thick in the back with a 4-inch bend, it goes all the way through both mold boards, and it's welded on the front side and the back side. We'll get you some pictures of that. The main brace in here for your back brace is indexed right here. It's welded in front, back, side, even in the plugs here. This box blade should be able to stand a 220 horsepower two-wheel drive without any problem, 180 four-wheel drive. We're going to try it out on a 240 horsepower four-wheel drive tractor that has dual wheels weighing 35,000 pounds. We'll probably build a 10-footer for that because that's what it's going to take to get close to the rear wheels. But we don't see any reason why with this kind of weight and the materials we're using that this won't work just fine. So at Everything Attachments, we're going to be adding to our box blade line continually. We've kind of left a huge gap from where we stopped to this because there's a whole lot in between, and we're trying to fill the gap right now with some folding tailgates, a little bit heavier than what we've got, and some different options. But this blade is just a monster of a blade, and at the weight it is for what it's for big four-wheel drive tractors and clearing and grading, something that'll hold yards of dirt and get it out of the way. We're really proud to have one of the biggest box blades in the industry. And where a lot of these are sold, I think, are in the Midwest and down east. But and I'm not sure how big the market is, but I guess we'll figure it out. Give us a call or an email at Everything Attachments, and we'll be happy to help you.